It's not. Now that I've acknowledged that it was gonna happen, it won't.
Well, here we are at Burn Babylon Burn with Koa and Andy O. So we're gonna find out if we've got a little bit of choppiness in this recording after we check it out. So hopefully the recording comes across great on YouTube. So yeah, we're trying to do these at the end of the week so we can just kind of do a recap on the weekly news. If we do it on Monday, sometimes there's not that much to talk about because it's
There's always something to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I really did not want to do an entire 30-minute thing on them ignoring one shooting and only talking about the other shooting. It was getting kind of aggravating.
Right. And then also considering that all these cities that are crime ridden and they won't even acknowledge it. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that was Monday. But yeah, so well, I wanted to introduce the first topic I thought was slightly amusing, which was just because of the way you see Elon handling the media on this one. So Elon Musk came out a little while ago and said if he ever has a scandal, he wants it to be called #ElonGate. If you want to play around with the way you say elongate, you can actually get to the humor that's behind that. So there was this lady that apparently whenever Elon Musk travels on SpaceX, he'll get a deep tissue massage sometimes. Or travels for SpaceX. And so one of the ladies that was a hostess was encouraged to actually go and get a masseuse license, et cetera, et cetera. And she claims that one time he flipped over and he had a hard on. And he told her if she would give him a full massage, he would buy her a horse.
okay. Maybe that's why all the fake chads and alpha bros yesterday were like, oh, women that ride horses are slutty or something like that. That was like,
yeah. There's also apparently apparently there's some of those manosphere guys or something like that. I don't quite know who, but there's some guys that believe that women get orgasms from riding horses, and so it's only slutty women that ride horses
and bicycles and
yeah,
motorcycles. Yeah.
So that was an amusing one, but it's definitely fun watching.
Those guys are dorks.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's all there is to it.
Definitely dorks, but it's also very fun to watch Elon Musk just full on blaze the line, just going like, hey, like 3 days ago, he's like, let's just see how mad they get at me. And then he literally posted, it's like right after he said he's voting Republican in the next election. He posted a thing of him, he's like with the emojis of him eating popcorn, basically saying, this is going to be fun. I'm just going to be sitting here chilling while they all spurg out.
Right.
And so he's doing a similar thing to what Trump did, where he just uses the mainstream media and the trolls, etc., basically just to get his branding out there. Because remember, he doesn't pay for advertisement at all. And the advertising wing of Twitter, basically they're
just the MSM will just do whatever they can to promote anybody that they don't like.
Well, they need something to talk about. So if you say outrageous things,
yeah.
But it's just gonna be kind of fun to watch because it's a running battle between him and Trump to see apparently because what Trump did during his election campaigns, etc. Who uses Twitter the most efficiently? So it was just kind of fun story to start off, and then we can go into the other fun stuff. Oh, I forgot to try this banner. There we go. Look, elongate came up.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
So yeah. So what were you? What was your thing that you were interested in from this week? The one that top one on your mind there.
So this WHO treaty, I sent you an article on it. It's going to give the WHO special powers. I don't like it. I really, I don't think that they should be determining things, especially considering how in bed with China they are, for one. And and by the way, this might be the thing that actually gets us strike on YouTube, because they're very well protected by the establishment, which tells you that these corporate types, they don't want you to know what's going on. The thing is, once this treaty runs through a whole bunch of things, it has to go through Congress. And after seeing this $60 billion going to the Ukraine this week, and only 11 people voting against it, one of the people that voted for it was Ted Cruz, and I'm very disappointed in him, and wrote him a message. But this isn't the first time Ted Cruz has disappointed me. But I would think at least he would be right on this. No, there's only 11 that are brave enough to stand up against this kind of thing. And
who's the other one?
So,
who was the other one that did it beside Rand Paul? And then was it Tom Cotton or somebody else that I've heard? There was some other high-profile name in there.
No, Mike Lee and Rand Paul are two of the 11. I don't have the list right in front of me right now. Yeah, and yeah, they're great. They're consistent, and so many people are afraid of getting smeared by the media as being pro-Russia or whatever. So, maybe we should just give all of our money to the Ukraine so that we don't seem as if, let's just run the printer overtime,
So I did hear, I believe it was last night, I heard Ted Cruz addressed it in a Q&A on this one. And so just to play a little bit of devil's advocate, his reasoning is to stop Russia trying to get more of a power grab if they get everything. And also the other side of his reasoning is to as a deterrent to China for going into Taiwan, which, I mean, China does not have a strong.
That's lame.
I know. I was just saying, I play devil's advocate. I mean, Taiwan, China does not have a strong navy. They have a strong military, like army style, but not navy, and so it would be a lot harder to. I mean, you see how much trouble Russia's going through. Taiwan would be nigh on ridiculous unless you include nuclear weapons. So there's a lot of different things in that. I don't think it was good reasoning, but
the fun part about this is that Russia isn't even treating this as a war. This is a specialized military operation.
Yeah.
It's not a war. So if it were all out war, they would not be having problems. They could easily crush them. It's difference in population, things like that. One thing about Ukraine is that they have a ton of grain, more grain than anywhere else in Europe. When people aren't planning and they're defending themselves, that's going to play heavily into the upcoming food crisis. Upcoming is not even a good way of saying it at this point. It plays into this whole food crisis, and I listen to the propaganda report quite a bit, and Monica always says there's no such thing as a perfect storm. All of these things that this happened and this happened, and we'll have another one later on whenever we talk about the monkeypox. But this and this and this leads to this. It's all there. It's not a perfect storm. Somebody set something up. At least part of it, if not most of the situation.
my thing is that generally, whenever we see something coming, it's Scott Adams' law of slow-moving disasters. We generally can solve the problem if we see it coming from a long
Well, the
way.
disaster's here, and instead of working on this disaster, we're paying almost $6 a gallon for diesel, and we're running out of baby formula. I don't see anybody fixing anything up.
Yeah, but that's part of why the Democrats are in for shellacking. What they're trying to do now is they're trying to roll out lots of different scenarios, lots of different things to see if they can find something that works. I mean, abortion is all the Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, you can placate them with that, and they'll become obsessed over it and do their ridiculous Handmaid's Tale antics and everything like that.
Yeah, but it's already fading away. It didn't work. Them releasing that info, etc., it's not working. People are still looking at their gas prices. They're still looking at it. Essentially, they're trying to figure out what they can do to get people back on their side. And they effed up so badly that I don't think it's happening. And I think that there's going to come corrections in the next in this upcoming election. So we're going to see how that looks like. You know, we're also going to see how neocons get in because the Democrats get voted out. Because I guarantee you, like
that's the thing. That's what I was going to talk about mainly is this thing about we see this populist right and everything like that. We also see that only 11 senators were courageous enough to vote against that. Only one House of Representative member the other day, Thomas Massey, was brave enough to vote against this ridiculous anti-Semitism bill that had barely anything to do with it. He actually read it. The rest of them just wanted to virtue signal that they're against it. And so when you only have a handful and then you lose one, so we're losing Madison Cawthorn at this point because he got primaried out because he talked about the drug-fueled sex parties, the orgies in Washington, D.C. They tried to smear him, and I guess they were successful. But so there goes one more populist right person. Now, is there really a reckoning coming? I don't see it.
To me, I definitely say there is a reckoning on some type, and it's just to continue making the voices heard and pulling people in. Pulling people in the direction. It's like trying to control. I don't like analogies that much, but it's like herding cattle. Like whenever these representatives are trying to go off in one direction or the other direction, it's like pushing them back in line, It's getting them to recognize what they're trying to get is not what the people want, and they will, face repercussions and get voted out. But whenever you're dealing with something on this scale, right now we're just trying to get everybody on our side that will fight and go deal with the biggest problem. And then whenever we see how they act in, analogy of war, let's see how they act in battle, we can say, well, you obviously were a crappy general, and you were a crappy general, and you're a crappy general. So you guys are getting primaried next time. It's a process. It's not something that gets solved.
Well, so the primaries are working against populist right at this point, if that's what's happening, though. So because people aren't paying attention, and they're not really enthused about anything unless Trump says something. And Trump isn't allowed to say anything right now. He is, I guess, to the few amount of people that are on his social media website that he made, but those are like his most devout followers. They're the same ridiculous people that I talked about last week that would pay money to sniff his farts. Now, those are the only people, and now people aren't paying attention, and you're losing populist right people to primaries so that they can stick in some establishment Republican and let more things go the way of Dan Crenshaw, you know?
Well, one interesting one that got through was that got through the Supreme Court this week. So Ted Cruz sponsored a bill that would basically a couple of years ago, I guess, the establishment basically put in a rule saying you can only get something like $250,000. Let's say you were to run for like Congress or something like that, and you were to loan yourself money to you were to loan your campaign money in order to get up and running, in order to start, getting noticed, so that you could actually start collecting campaign donations. According to this bill that the Supreme Court just overturned, you could only get $250,000 back of the money that you put in. So I think Ted Cruz, basically him and his wife took their life savings, which was whenever he first started. So he had like a little over $1 million that he put into his campaign. Under the now no longer current law, but under the previous law, you could only get $250,000 returned to you through donations. And so essentially so there's a lot of people that would spend money to get their campaign going, etc. But the law actually stated until essentially yesterday that you actually can't get your money back. It can't be returned to you. So essentially you're just giving your campaign money. So you're giving away your life savings. So this getting overturned actually allows for people to actually get back into the game. And I just realized instead of using the word like, I use the word actually way too often. But this
we got to get rid of these brain worms.
There we go. But this ruling from the Supreme Court actually allows a lot more people to get involved in politics using their own money to get started and then pay themselves off from campaign donations. So this allows people to get into the fight more. So that it allows people that, have been successful in their community and built businesses to actually get involved without risking every penny of their life saving. If they're at least competent enough to get donations moving in, then they don't lose their whole life saving by running for office. And so it actually helps stand up against the establishment people that have been in there forever and, have war chests in their campaign.
Right. And they're getting some of these people that get so much money from Soros-backed organizations.
Exactly.
And yeah. Well, yeah, I would like some more small time coming up for sure. Anytime something happens to Congress, I'm really like, I don't feel bad for any of these people, even the ones I like. I can't really just be like, oh, that's got to be really tough on him,
Yeah,
dude. You're basically, your salary is paid by taxes. You're basically on welfare. That's how I see it. Like, our money is funding them. They're on welfare.
Oh man, you brought to mind the people that are actually like really like not wasting the tax dollars money, etc. Like I believe Rand Paul sleeps on his couch, and there's several.
I don't think he sleeps on his couch. I don't think so.
No. So they whenever they're in DC, there's a group of them that actually sleeps on their couches in DC.
Oh, okay.
And the Democrats, this is like 6 months to a year ago, came out and were getting really mad at them because they're like, well, you have excess money to get a nicer house in the other area because you're not trying to get houses in two areas. So we're going to try to make it so that we get more money so that we can actually have two nice houses rather than one crappy and one nice, or something along that line. So the Democrats basically tried to stop Rand Paul and other guys from sleeping in their offices because they're just like, I'm here working. I'm working like 16 hours a day. I'm crunching the numbers to make sure that this bill works. And I'm having to read through all these stupid bills that are thousands of pages long and stuff like that So I'm just not going to drive to my DC residence. I don't even have one. I'm just sleeping on my couch.
I was thinking about that a similar situation one time. That a whole bunch of them that don't want to spend money, they end up all moving into this house. They all just share it, and it's people on both sides. And then this whole situation of how are they going to get along? But they all take lobby money, so they you know.
Did that actually happen?
No, it would be a great sitcom though.
That would be epic. And then
I imagine sitcoms sometimes, and just,
then you got
if anybody wants to steal that idea, you're very welcome to it. I will never write it. So yeah, steal it, please. I'd love to see it.
It would be great because it's like inflation soaring. The Congress people no longer can raise the money. You know, they can pay for enough to live in nice houses in both areas. So like, oh yeah, we'll just
they're suffering from all their own actions.
Yeah, and then something gets pushed through to where the Congress has to vote with a massive supermajority to give themselves a pay raise. Like there has to be like 90%. That would be a great law. In order to give yourself a pay raise, 90% of Congress has to approve of the pay raise. That would be a fun law to put in because I think it's just a supermajority, or I think it's just a majority now to get a pay raise. I think it might be a supermajority, but yeah. So they're in a scenario where they're like all sitting there, like they're living it as full-grown adults. They all have to rent out rooms in this ginormous house, and then then you get to see all the backroom dealings. It would be really fun.
Yeah, and then some of them just end up liking each other, but they're not supposed to like each other, and fun stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, and then
but that I'm sure that already happens. I've heard that it's exactly like that. They'll go up there and they'll be at each other's throats and everything, and then they'll go have a beer afterwards.
It was I have an old family friend who used to be a Democratic senator way back in the day. It's not really like that anymore. It used to be a lot more like that. Now people like Mitch McConnell, people like Mitt Romney for sure. It's still like that, but a lot of them just, especially after COVID and like people not wearing masks and fining each other for not wearing masks and stuff like that. It's
so not all these culture wars that they start are starting to affect them as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun one. But anyway, to digress away from the fun TV show idea, somebody please start that TV show. What would it be called though? I don't know what that TV show would be called.
Oh, yeah. I've already given them enough. So if you're going to steal it, you got to come up with a name for it. At least.
Exactly. But to catch up on the WHO treaty, what?
Oh, back to that. I'm not confident that we have a House or Senate that can stop it, and that will stop it. But if that happens, then you're talking about something that overrules rules that are basically make our country. So if that happens, then we no longer live in the United States. We're under world government at that point. And
it's also like who came up with this monkeypox vaccine, because from what I understand, they've already the U.S. government has already placed an order for like 1 million vaccines.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's obviously Bill Gates. I mean, every single time.
Yeah. Well, he's just irked because Elon Musk is now taking the richest man in the world position, and he's not smart enough to send rocket ships into space. Maybe he's just mad.
Bill Gates puts his money into his foundation. So you don't see the money necessarily tied to the person. You see it tied to the foundation. It's the oldest trick in the book. That's why I'm always like, Elon's not really that rich. He's not he's not like most of them. They put their money in foundations. They don't report. A lot of them don't report. Uh, it, he's got this mystique that's built up around him, and he's not really the richest man in the country. That's just, especially now that Bitcoin took a beating.
Well, he didn't have money in Bitcoin. I don't know how his stocks are.
I think he did have some money in Bitcoin. There was a big deal about it.
Even with Dogecoin, he just opened an account for his son and just put some money in there and just left it. So,
okay.
I don't know about that, but no, most of his money is tied up in his stocks. Like, he pays himself a very low salary, and his money's just all tied up in his stocks. But yeah, it's still going to be interesting. I definitely, whenever SpaceX goes on the stock market, I'm 100% buying into SpaceX, hands down.
I will not be doing that.
I'm not buying in 100%. I'm not putting everything in, but I'm definitely going to buy some.
You don't put 100% into anything. That's not the wise way of investing at all.
I mean, I'm 100% going to buy SpaceX when it's available to buy some SpaceX, but
not 100%.
Yeah, I'm not putting all my money into it. That's for sure. But anyway, but do you know what authority the WHO, World Health Organization, would get under this?
So they would get special powers whenever a pandemic is declared, which, as you know, it's
bad.
Right, and they changed the definition to pandemic, and now they have a different category. It's in that article I sent you that it's something smaller than a pandemic. It's I think it's just a world health situation. It's not even a pandemic. There's very few definitions. And they can come and start enforcing things and asking for things and demanding things. And obviously, I don't want a situation of vaccine passports. And that's been a thing that we've been pushing back against for the last couple of years. And it could come through, not through the United States, but through some World Health Organization. It's just bad news.
No, that would be bad, and then they're also unelected.
Bill Gates is their second biggest donor as well. So yeah. So what? Bill Gates makes a virus, and then sends his World Health Organization after it, and then rinse, repeat. It's he's done the exact same thing with computers. He's using the same model on people.
Yeah, that's really disturbing. So,
yeah,
I'm going to be interested to see how that develops. And
have you seen the guy that heads the World Health Organization, Ted Ross? I mean, I don't want that guy to have any authority over me whatsoever. Not that I would consider any of their authority anyway, but I don't want that guy to think he has authority over us.
Yeah, I hear you there. I was just looking at the articles while I was off screen. But yeah, no, that would be very disturbing. Is it set to go to a vote soon?
We're looking at the 22nd whenever things start happening with it. But it's a process, and hopefully it gets stopped, and hopefully somebody stands up against it. I'm sure the 11 good ones will, but I'm concerned. I would consider it unconstitutional. So maybe the judicial system can solve some problems there.
Well, that's a good point.
It looks like the court is pretty well tied up with the nonsense at this point.
I mean, Trump did get a whole lot of judges in there. So
yeah,
and not just the Supreme Court judges, like circuit.
Quite a few of them are good judges, and I know that he's contacted Andrew Napolitano a few times, and so he's had some good voices in his ear before. So, and one of the reasons we have Neil Gorsuch, who is great. So, he's probably the best one we have. So,
the black guy is the best one I think of. What's his name? Dang it.
Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas is good too.
That in my opinion, he's the best one, or at least the best one at the moment.
Both in the So, the monkeypox, I think this is going to get overblown, and that's another reason I don't want these people involved in this. And as you know, they're just throwing more and more things out there. People are going to die. They all took an experimental shot that's got bad effects. As far as if you look at the VAERS data, there is no doubt about it at this point. Just go through VAERS and you got it. VAERS is unreliable. Yeah, whatever. Look at the results. A whole bunch of people. You got athletes, some of the healthiest people in the world, dropping dead on the field. All of these people that took these shots last year, or even recently, because they're still preaching for people to get boosters. I don't know anybody that's crazy enough to still do that, but whenever people start dying from that, they might start blaming it on that. And I thought they were going to do it with another variant, but they might just do it with another supposed virus. So
yeah, in my opinion, in my opinion, it's going to be something that weakens immunity. It's not going to be dying from necessarily. I think it's more likely to be something that weakens the immune system overall.
Like the shot does. The shot
lowers testosterone. I don't think that it's I don't think it's an evil, diabolical plan. I just think that it's one of those things where you're just putting too much crap in your body, and it's.
Well, if you want to see the plan, just go out to Georgia, to the Georgia Guidestones, and you can read their plan as to how big they want the world population to be.
Idiots. Another reason I like Elon Musk. He thinks there's not enough.
Right. Well, that I agree with him on, but yeah, I think the population crisis is just another lie, and
100%.
And we're in the opposite of that. We're underpopulated at this point, so we're headed for danger. We saw a lot of prosperity after the baby boom because we had a whole bunch of people doing things, and that caused prosperity and that caused abundance, and this will be the opposite effect.
Oh yeah, I mean the freaking what's it called? Social Security. By the time you and me retire, if you're counting on your Social Security and you're under the age of 40, forget about it. You're not going to see Social Security. At the very least, like what was it? I think at the 62 was whenever you can start collecting Social Security, and whenever it got voted into law, the average lifespan was like 59 or something like that.
If you're relying on it, then you're already making mistakes.
100%. I'd prefer to be able to keep my own money and invest in myself. Thank you very much.
Right. And by the way, none of this is financial advice.
This is only for entertainment purposes.
Right.
Or medical advice. It's not medical advice either.
Yeah.
We're just the truck driver and the lawn care guy that's remodeling houses. Why were you going to listen to us on this?
Yeah. Don't listen to us. Just a couple of idiots.
What was the other thing you had mentioned that you wanted to talk about?
I'm not sure. I think that I've covered the ground that. Oh, I think I gotcha. It's the the thought police, whatever they are,
Ministry
they're
of Truth.
gone. Yeah,
Ministry of Truth is over. If I could sing, I would do that little Mary Poppins thingy that she does, that she did on TikTok.
Yeah, it's not over though. It's on hold. And what it is though, it is and I've been called negative before, but what it is though is a victory uh, in the battle of meme warfare. So they were losing meme warfare, so they tried to create this department so that they could fight the memes that they're really actually quite afraid of these memes. So they were losing that battle, so they wanted to censor those memes, and then they got memed so hard that they couldn't do it. The best part was Lauren Boebert, who is one of the good ones. She got out there and she started talking about the disinfo board and explaining that most of the disinfo comes from the Democrats, and I can't disagree with her at all.
Oh, 100%. And then it was pointed out today that it was not a record for the Democrats losing. There was actually one thing that collapsed faster than the Ministry of Truth. Do you know what it is?
CNN Plus.
Exactly. CNN Plus actually lost faster. So what's Potato Head's name again? Can't remember what.
Brian Steller.
Yeah. So he's actually probably envious of whoever that Dolores Umbridge lady is.
Nina Jankowicz.
Nina Jankowicz. He's probably envious of her because she lasted longer than he did. But this is why freedom of speech is so important and why they tried it. And they're definitely going to try it again. They're going to try.
They're completely after your freedom of speech. And then they're after the one that's right after it.
Oh yeah, well exactly. See, keep your head up. Oh wait, there it is.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what's been going on. They lost a major battle, and it literally was just about the memes. And the memes are winning wars now, or at least winning battles.
Memes do not put food on your plate, and memes do not keep your job whenever your boss is demanding you take a medical intervention that you do not want.
Exactly. So, but it's all about keeping the momentum going. That's why you had mentioned earlier a little bit, but I so loved the Dark MAGA.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. So now we've got Ultra MAGA and we've got Dark MAGA, and then we've also got the MAGA King, which is thank you for those last two ones, Democrats. They spent millions of dollars in think tanks to come up with Ultra MAGA. We appreciate it. It used to be deplorables. Now it's Ultra MAGA. Somehow you guys are stepping up your game and giving us content to use. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was
a basket of deplorables, which is even
right.
weirder. I don't refer to a group of people as a basket, but
you do if you're a collectivist. It's the way you have to view everyone.
Yeah. I don't eat children, so you know.
Yeah, so but that is fascinating. I spent a little time looking over some of the memes on the Dark MAGA. But I'm pretty sure that they gave us the better one, which is the Ultra MAGA. So we're going to see how that continues to develop. That's going to be
it's the kind of optimism though that the enemies of the country and the enemies that of Donald Trump, which is not always one and the same, but those people getting punished, getting justice, it's a nice dream. But the thing that I always want to emphasize is we don't need to wait for leaders. We have to do this. We have to make these things happen. So many things have happened. We haven't even mentioned the Mules documentary that came out last week, and that I think gives some pretty good evidence. If and then I'm not even sure. I thought that Madison Cawthorn was popular, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happened or if it was just the smear campaign. But when you look at it, you have to see that they're 2 steps ahead of you. They own every institution, all of these things, and they have to be turned around and defeated. A lot of that's happening on the local level in school boards. I know that there was one in Texas recently that they completely banished the school board and got all new people because they were teaching their kids weird things. So
yeah. And that's also why the freedom of speech is so important. Being able to put that out on the internet, being able to get people to notice it. I mean, 2000 Mules was that was a really that was one that Dinesh D'Souza had a lot of trouble getting out. It's still hard to find it. Apparently, you can find it on
Fox
Rumble.
won't promote it.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about Fox?
Exactly. The interesting thing was Rasputin? The polling, Rasmussen. Apparently, I haven't looked that far into it, but apparently they came out with video evidence or photo evidence of the same guy going to several different polling stations that lines up with the 2000 Mules documentary as well. So that the one criticism, like for example, Ben Shapiro was looking at the 2000 Mules and he's like trying to play devil's advocate. It's like, okay, these are a few things that you guys didn't quite clarify. But one of those was being able to see photos of the people, of several photos of the person turning up to the polling places. And apparently Rasputin, what did he say it? Rasmussen. Apparently on their Twitter's tried really hard to hide it, did put out some evidence of the same guy going up to multiple polling places. So it's just the beginning of this story. I don't think this story's over by any means. I think there's going to be continually trickling out of stuff like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Veritas is playing that game.
Oh yeah, I'm sure James would keep us all over that.
Did you see the one where the Twitter guy, the guy from Twitter?
Oh yeah, you're lucky I trust you.
It's like,
I'm glad we met organically.
It was like, the guy that was headed the hidden camera or whatever was like, Veritras, what is this place? Tell me more about it.
Right, that was great. Yeah. Anyway, we should cut it there.
Heard that.
And I will catch y'all next week.
Sounds good to me. Same here.
All right.